The secret archive was gone. The mysterious phone call had ended. But one question refused to leave Mina's mind. Why had her father brought her to Westbridge High? She barely slept. Every answer she uncovered only led to another impossible mystery. Then, the next morning, the entire school fell silent. After disappearing without a trace for 2 days, Ethan walked through the front gate as if nothing had happened. His uniform was perfectly clean. His backpack was neatly packed. There wasn't a single bruise on his body. When Mina ran toward him with tears in her eyes, Ethan looked at her politely and asked a question that made her blood run cold. "I'm sorry. Have we met before?" Part 1, A Stranger in Ethan's Eyes. The moment Ethan stepped through the front gate, the entire campus seemed to pause. Students who had spent 2 days spreading rumors suddenly fell silent. There he is. I thought he transferred. Someone said he was kidnapped. The teacher said he was sick. Whispers followed Ethan across the courtyard, but he ignored every single one of them. His uniform was perfectly pressed. His tie was straight. His backpack rested neatly over one shoulder. There wasn't a scratch on him. If someone hadn't known he had disappeared, they would have believed nothing had happened. Mina couldn't stop herself. She pushed through the crowd and ran toward him. "Ethan." He turned around. For one brief second, hope filled her heart. Then his expression remained completely blank. "Can we talk?" Mina asked, struggling to catch her breath. Ethan looked at her politely. "I'm sorry." His voice was calm. "Do I know you?" The words hit Mina harder than any insult Jesu had ever thrown at her. She forced a nervous smile. "Very funny. You gave me the memory card. You warned me about Principal Kim. You disappeared 2 days ago." Ethan frowned slightly. "I'm afraid you've mistaken me for someone else. I've never given you anything. And I wasn't missing." Before Mina could answer, the first bell rang. Ethan nodded politely. "Excuse me." Then he simply walked away, as if she had never existed. Ryan had witnessed everything from the front steps. He walked over quietly. That wasn't an act. Mina stared after Ethan. There was something wrong with him. Ryan nodded. "I've known Ethan since freshman year. He always looked people in the eyes when he spoke." "He didn't." Mina frowned. "What do you mean?" Ryan lowered his voice. He kept scanning the crowd, like he was checking if someone was watching him. During first period, Ethan behaved like the perfect student. He answered every question correctly. He took careful notes. He smiled politely whenever a teacher spoke to him. But something felt unnatural. Every movement seemed rehearsed, almost mechanical. Even the way he laughed sounded forced. Hannah quietly leaned toward Mina. "Have you noticed?" Mina whispered back. "He hasn't looked out the window once." Ethan always sat by the window. He used to stare outside whenever he was thinking. Now he hasn't looked away from his notebook. Hannah slowly nodded. "I noticed something else." "What?" "He isn't left-handed anymore." Mina blinked. "What?" "He always wrote with his left hand. Today, he's writing with his right." Across the room, Ethan continued taking notes. His handwriting was neat, almost too perfect. Then, without warning, his pencil froze. For less than a second, his eyes drifted toward Mina. His fingers tightened around the pencil until the wood cracked. A painful expression flashed across his face. Just as quickly, it disappeared. He calmly picked up another pencil from his case and continued writing. No emotion, no reaction. As if nothing had happened. At lunchtime, the rumors began spreading again. Only this time, they weren't about Ethan. They were about Mina. Jisoo stood near the center of the cafeteria, surrounded by her usual group. She didn't have to raise her voice. Everyone leaned in to listen, so Ethan finally came back. She smiled sweetly. It's funny. He says he barely knows Mina. One of the students frowned. But Mina said he helped her. Jisoo shrugged dramatically. Maybe she imagined it. Another student laughed. Or maybe she's making up stories again. Within minutes, whispers spread from one table to another. She lied. She wanted attention. I knew something felt off. Mina entered the cafeteria just in time to hear the last sentence. The room fell quiet. Dozens of students turned toward her. Some looked curious. Others looked disappointed. A few openly laughed. Jisoo met Mina's eyes from across the room. She never said another word. She didn't have to. The damage had already been done. Mina quietly turned around and walked back into the hallway. She wasn't crying. Not anymore. Ryan caught up with her near the lockers. Ignore them. They don't know the truth. Mina shook her head. That's exactly the problem. The truth isn't enough anymore. If Ethan doesn't remember anything, nobody will believe me. Ryan leaned against the lockers. Then we stopped trying to convince everyone. Mina looked at him. What? We don't need the whole school. We only need proof. He reached into his backpack and carefully removed the old photograph from Project ASTER. The answers are still here. Before Mina could reply, a familiar voice echoed from behind them. You really should stop carrying that around. The two of them spun around. Standing at the end of the hallway, Principal Kim watched them with her usual calm smile. But this time, her eyes weren't looking at Mina. They were fixed on the photograph in Ryan's hands. Part 2, The Trap on Stage. Principal Kim's eyes lingered on the photograph for only a second before she smiled. You two seem very interested in old school history. Ryan calmly slipped the photograph back into his backpack. It's just an old family picture. I see. Her smile never changed. Be careful. Sometimes the past is more dangerous than the present. Without another word, she walked away. The hallway felt strangely cold after she disappeared. Mina looked at Ryan. She knows. Ryan nodded. And she's getting nervous. That afternoon, colorful posters appeared across the campus. Westbridge Charity Week. Students crowded around the bulletin boards, excitedly reading the announcements. The event would include performances, speeches, games, and a charity auction. Every class had to participate. It'll be nice to have something positive for once, Hannah said with a smile. Before Mina could answer, a cheerful voice echoed behind them. Mina. They turned. Jisoo approached with several members of the student council. Her smile looked warm. Almost too warm. I was hoping to find you. Mina remained cautious. What do you want? Jisoo clasped her hands together. I think we've had too many misunderstandings. So, I'd like to invite you to speak during tomorrow's charity event. Mina blinked. Speak? You've been through a lot. I'm sure everyone would love to hear your story. Several students nearby smiled approvingly. For a moment, it sounded genuine. Ryan quietly stepped closer to Mina. This feels wrong. Mina agreed. But refusing in front of everyone would only make her look afraid. I'll do it. Jisoo's smile widened. Wonderful. I'll make sure everything is ready. As she walked away, Ryan noticed something unusual. Jisoo never looked back. It was as if she already knew exactly how tomorrow would end. The next morning, the school auditorium buzzed with excitement. Hundreds of students filled the seats. Teachers lined the walls. Parents and donors occupied the front rows. Large banners decorated the stage. Westbridge Charity Week. Principal Kim welcomed everyone before introducing the student performances. Music, dance, awards. Everything went smoothly. Then Principal Kim smiled toward the audience. Our next speaker has shown remarkable courage this semester. Please welcome Mina Carter. Polite applause filled the auditorium. Mina took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. Bright lights blinded her for a moment. She looked toward the audience. Ryan gave her a reassuring nod. Hannah smiled encouragingly. Even Ethan sat quietly near the back. His expression remained unreadable. Mina stepped toward the microphone. She barely finished the first word. The giant screen behind her suddenly flickered. The audience turned around. A video began playing. Mina froze. It showed security footage from the cafeteria. But something was wrong. The footage had been edited. Every scene where Jisoo's group bullied Mina had disappeared. Instead, the video showed Mina arguing with classmates, walking into people on purpose, raising her voice, storming out of classrooms. Without context, she looked like the aggressor. Gasps spread across the auditorium. Students began whispering, "I knew something wasn't right." So she lied? She made herself look like the victim. Mina stared at the screen in disbelief. That's not what happened. Her voice shook. Someone edited the footage. But the whispers only grew louder. Near the side of the stage, Jisoo watched quietly. A satisfied smile crossed her face. Everything was happening exactly as planned. She didn't even need to say a word. The video was destroying Mina's reputation for her. Ryan suddenly stood up. Stop the video. His voice echoed through the auditorium. Everyone turned toward him. He walked directly onto the stage. Principal Kim stepped forward. Ryan, this isn't appropriate. It will be. Ryan connected his phone to the presentation system before anyone could stop him. The edited video disappeared. A new recording appeared. The original security footage. This version showed everything. Jisoo's group secretly pouring paint into Mina's locker. Students laughing while filming. Books thrown across the hallway. The cruel comments. The humiliation. Nothing had been removed. The auditorium fell silent. Ryan looked toward the audience. The video you just watched was manipulated. This is the original file. Nobody spoke. The truth unfolded frame by frame on the giant screen. One teacher slowly stood. Who edited the first video? No one answered. All eyes turned toward Jisoo. For the first time, her confident smile disappeared. I don't know. Principal Kim immediately intervened. Enough. This is a charity event. We'll investigate the matter privately. But the atmosphere had already changed. Students who had doubted Mina now looked uncomfortable. Some lowered their heads. Others glanced at Jisoo with suspicion. The balance inside Westbridge High had shifted. As the audience began leaving the auditorium, Ethan quietly walked past the stage. For a brief moment, he stopped beside Mina. Without looking at her, he whispered so softly that only she could hear. They're watching. Then he continued walking. His face remained expressionless. as if he had never spoken. Mina's heart pounded. If Ethan truly remembered nothing, how could he know they were watching? Part 3. The memory they couldn't erase. The auditorium slowly emptied. Students whispered as they walked into the hallway. For the first time since Mina arrived at Westbridge High, the rumors weren't about her. They were about Jisoo. Did she really edit the video? I can't believe we trusted her. Maybe Mina was telling the truth all along. Jisoo heard every word. Her hands tightened into fists. For the first time in years, she had lost control of the school's opinion. Outside the auditorium, Ryan caught up with Mina. "Are you okay?" Mina nodded weakly. "I'm just trying to understand Ethan." Ryan glanced toward the hallway. "He whispered something to you, didn't he?" Mina hesitated. Then she nodded. "He said, they're watching." Ryan's expression immediately changed. So, he remembers. Or, he wants us to think he doesn't. Later that afternoon, the campus slowly became quiet. Most students had already gone home. Mina waited alone near the back gate where Ethan usually left school. She checked the time. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Just as she was about to leave, Ethan appeared. He stopped several meters away. "You've been following me." His voice was calm. "I wanted answers. I don't have any." "You remembered something." Ethan looked away. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You warned me. You said they were watching." For the first time all day, a flicker of emotion crossed Ethan's face. Fear. It lasted less than a second. Then it vanished again. "You should go home, Mina. It's dangerous." Mina slowly reached into her pocket. She pulled out the old brass key. A17. The moment Ethan saw it, his breathing stopped. His pupils widened. His hand instinctively reached toward his head. "No." His voice became unsteady. "Please. Put it away." Mina took one careful step closer. "You recognize it." Ethan staggered backward. "I said, put it away." His breathing became rapid. Sweat formed on his forehead. Fragments of broken memories flashed through his mind. A white hallway, bright lights, a locked metal door, someone shouting, a child crying, needles, doctors in white coats, Principal Kim standing behind a glass window. Then, a familiar voice. "Erase it again." Ethan suddenly dropped to his knees. He pressed both hands against his temples. "No. No. They told me." His voice trembled violently. "They said it never happened." Mina rushed toward him. "Ethan." Ryan, who had been watching from a distance, sprinted over. "Ethan, look at me." Ethan's eyes darted wildly around the empty parking lot, as though he were seeing two different worlds at the same time. One was the school around him. The other was trapped somewhere inside his memories. His lips moved, barely above a whisper. "They changed." "My memory." Ryan froze. "What?" Ethan grabbed Ryan's sleeve with surprising strength. "They changed my memory. They changed all of it." Before Ryan could ask another question, Ethan's body went completely limp. He collapsed onto the pavement. Minutes later, an ambulance arrived. Teachers gathered near the entrance. Principal Kim appeared almost immediately. She looked genuinely concerned. "Is he breathing?" One of the paramedics nodded. "His vital signs are normal. We're taking him to St. Mary's Hospital for observation." As Ethan was lifted onto the stretcher, his eyes opened for just a second. He looked directly at Mina. Without moving his lips, he silently mouthed two words, "Casement." Then he closed his eyes again. The ambulance doors slammed shut. Ryan stared after it. "Did you see that?" Mina nodded slowly. "He was trying to tell us something." "What basement?" Mina thought about the old map, the archive, room A17. Then another possibility entered her mind. The school. Across the street, a black luxury sedan remained parked beneath the trees. Its tinted windows concealed the passengers inside. The driver lowered a pair of binoculars. "They've started remembering." The man sitting in the back seat didn't answer immediately. He watched the ambulance disappear into traffic. Finally, he spoke. That wasn't supposed to happen. "What are your orders, sir?" A long silence followed. Then came the reply. "Move up the schedule." "We're running out of time." Back inside Westbridge High, Principal Kim stood alone in her office. She opened a locked drawer beneath her desk. Inside was a thick personnel file marked Project ASTER. She slowly opened it. Several pages were missing. Someone had already taken them. Her calm expression finally cracked. She picked up a secure phone and dialed a number. They found the archive. A voice answered immediately. "How much do they know?" "More than they should." Another pause. Then the order came. "If Ethan remembers everything, he cannot stay at Westbridge." Principal Kim slowly closed her eyes. She understood exactly what that meant. And for the first time in years, she hesitated, ending beneath the football field. The ambulance disappeared into the evening traffic. Its flashing lights faded into the distance. Mina stood silently at the school entrance. She couldn't stop thinking about Ethan's final word, basement. It wasn't a random word. He wanted her to find something. The question was, where? That night, rain fell softly over the city. Mina returned home carrying her backpack tightly against her chest. She walked straight to her father's old study. The small wooden box still sat on the bookshelf exactly where she had left it. Inside were the photograph, the silver bracelet, the Project ASTER document, and the unopened envelope her father had left behind years ago. Across the front, written in faded blue ink, were the words, "Only open this after you find Ethan." Mina slowly broke the old wax seal. Inside wasn't a letter. It was a folded blueprint. She carefully unfolded the yellowed paper across the desk. It was an architectural map of Westbridge High. Every classroom, every hallway, every emergency exit. Her eyes scanned the page until she noticed a red circle drawn by hand. Not around the archive, not around Principal Kim's office. It marked one location, the football field. Below the circle, her father's handwriting read, "The truth isn't in A17. A17 only protects the entrance." Mina felt a chill run down her spine. If the archive was only the entrance, then what had it been protecting all these years? At the same moment, Ryan sat alone in his bedroom studying the old Project ASTER photograph. Something continued bothering him. He enlarged the image on his laptop, then enlarged it again. In the background, behind Mina's father, a steel maintenance door was barely visible beneath the stadium seating. The number painted above it had almost completely faded. Ryan adjusted the image one final time. His breathing stopped. The number wasn't random. It read, B01. Ryan immediately grabbed his phone. "Mina. I think I found the basement." Before Mina could answer, her phone buzzed with another incoming message. Unknown number. There was no text, only a single photograph. It showed Ethan. He was lying unconscious inside a dimly lit room. His wrists were restrained to a hospital bed. Behind him stood a familiar figure wearing black leather gloves. The person's face remained hidden. At the bottom of the image, one sentence had been typed in white letters. "If you go underground, he dies first." Mina's hands began to shake. Someone wasn't just watching them anymore. Someone knew exactly where they were, and exactly what they had discovered. Far beneath Westbridge High, deep below the football field, power slowly returned to a forgotten underground facility. One by one, rows of fluorescent lights flickered to life. Dust-covered computer monitors awakened after years of silence. Old security cameras rotated for the first time in decades. A massive reinforced steel door unlocked with a loud metallic click. Hidden behind it, dozens of sealed research rooms stretched into darkness. A digital monitor displayed one flashing notification. Subject M.C. Location active. Phase 2, Anisha's eyes. Somewhere inside the darkness, a shadow stepped forward. Then a familiar male voice quietly whispered, "She's finally coming home."